interesting person is something that is really a subjective because in order to be perceived interesting, you must surround yourself with people who have an interest in you. And this might mean finding people with similar hobbies, goals, interests, or background as you. It all depends on the people to perceive you as interesting. So, do you think you can be an interesting person? Honestly, you cannot if you pretend to be someone else just to be an interesting person. And here's why. First, people have different tastes. What some would find interesting and others would not. So you cannot make everyone happy. You are not a bar of chocolate. Second, some people have very limited interests and it is hard or mostly impossible for you to crawl your way down to their level to make them find you are interesting. Third, your interests define your happiness, and no matter how much interesting people find you, it certainly won't make you happy, because then you would just be a fused version of other people's interests. If you found people that have the same interests as you, then I am truly happy for that situation. But what if you are lonely because you couldn't find people who have the same interest in you? Isn't that sad? You're lonely because you think that you are not an interesting person. The truth is, you cannot force yourself to be someone you are not. You shouldn't pretend to be someone you are not just to become a more interesting person, and if you do this, people won't be interested in the real you. Instead, they will be interested in the fake version of yourself, and this is the things that you shouldn't do. You should not sell yourself as a dressed-up, colorful version of what others might want you to be, because you are not a clown. You should embrace yourself. Pursue what your heart tells you to do. Put yourself out there and try new things. Be the best version of yourself, but don't change who you are. People should like the real you and not the fake version of yourself, and if people don't like you because you are not interesting, then you shouldn't be care. They just clearly don't care about you, and those kind of people will only bring problems later on. So, do you think you can be an interesting person? The truth is yes, you can be an interesting person to yourself. When you have the courage to explore who you are and then put it out there, you become an extremely interesting person to yourself, and at the end of the day, our uniqueness is what makes people interesting, and surely this will make you gain more people in your life because of your uniqueness, and this will make you more happier. So, how do you make your life more interesting? Let's call a simple word: explore. From the moment we are born, we strive to make sense of the world around us. We are born to explore. The need to constantly ask why or how is how we get to the bottom of a problem or topic, and we strive to explore the sense of the world. I found that it is interesting that when we explore something, it helps us to survive and adapting to the new challenges, which makes our life more interesting. Now, people like Albert Einstein, Richard Feynman, and Jane Goodall are all the people who like to explore and were interested in finding out the answer on how and why, and that's what made them an interesting people. Now, explore does not just mean about traveling around the world or your nearest city. It is also about how you explore yourself or surround you. Let's say that you go take a walk outside and then you see a bread that attracts you. So you have to stop by and buy the bread. And then you are so curious on how the bread are made. So you Google it on how the bread are made, and you made one of the bread, and then you amazed how similar the taste of the bread are. All of the process of making the bread are actually, you are exploring yourself, that you are actually good on making bread, and that is interesting. And that is just one example. There's all kind of ways of how you can explore yourself to be more interesting person, like learn different languages, accents, and so much more. Exploring yourself will help you to find the truth about yourself, and some of them are silly while some are more meaningful. Exploring yourself will also help you to become more interesting person, and not just you but also to other people. I think that explore is what makes life worth living. If you explore more deep about yourself, you'll find a way.